can never break me. Feel me, you can never kill me. Me, sue me, everybody do me. Kick me, fuck me, don't you black or white me. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Is Scottish independence dead and buried? The only thing dead is the credibility of our leaders and activists. Let's not beat around the bush anymore. Is independence dead and buried? Absolutely not. But what is dead and buried is the credibility of those who've been entrusted with leading the movement, the so-called political activists and leaders who've squandered millions of pounds, time and trust from the people of Scotland. Where has all this money gone? What have these self-proclaimed saviours of independence delivered? Nothing. All we have seen is a pattern of deception, excuses and deflection. Rather than advancing the cause, they've mastered the art of gaslighting the very people they claim to represent. Our hard-earned money was pumped into these organisations and campaigns, not to bolster the fight for freedom, but seemingly to feed egos, line pockets, and keep themselves relevant in a political landscape that's increasingly looking like a farce. Salvo, Alba, and the rest of them, let's be honest, they've done nothing but fracture the movement and dilute its momentum. When it mattered most, they failed. Instead of bringing people together, they have sown division. Instead of offering a clear strategy or coherent path forward, they've spewed rhetoric, playing on our hopes, yet delivering nothing of substance. Their promises have turned to dust, leaving us betrayed and disillusioned. We are left asking the simple question, what have any of you delivered? Where are the results for all the millions pumped into your campaigns? Where is the roadmap to independence? Instead of unity and progress, all we get is endless bickering, internal squabbles, and finger-pointing. It's as though the leadership thrives more on the spectacle of infighting than on actually winning independence. It's time to face facts. These people are not champions of our cause. They are, at best, out of their depth, and at worst, traitors to the very movement they claim to represent. Their failure is monumental, and the consequences are clear. While they've been busy serving themselves, Scotland remains in chains. But independence itself? No, it's not dead. It's alive in the hearts and minds of every Scot who still believes in self-determination, in a better future for our children, in a Scotland free from Westminster's grip. It's alive in the people, not in the hollow words of those who claim to lead us. The time has come for a new direction, one rooted in genuine leadership, transparency, and accountability. We can no longer afford to have our movement hijacked by those who are more interested in personal gain than in the collective goal of independence. If the current crop of so-called leaders can't deliver, then they must step aside because the cause of Scottish independence is far too important to be left in the hands of frauds and failures. We need a grassroots revolution, people's assemblies that are free from the political machinery that has betrayed us time and again. It's time to take control back from these charlatans and forge a new path forward, one where the real voices of the people led the charge, not those who have proven time and again that they are unfit to lead. Independence is not dead, but the leadership, they might as well be.
H. Unrealistic expectations and a lack of substance. There's a fundamental flaw in the way some people are engaging with the independence movement, particularly when it comes to the people's assemblies and the broader grassroots efforts. What's really infuriating is how they expect people like me and others who've poured decades into researching, designing, and gathering information for our society. to condense all of that into a single Facebook or TikTok post. Let's be clear, this isn't something you can summarize in a meme or a few sentences. We're talking about 10 to 20 years of groundwork here, and yet they think they can learn everything they need from one quick social media hit. And if that's not enough, they'll demand, "Give me the documents," as if it's just that simple. But do they ever take the time to properly digest that information? No. They don't even attempt to understand the depth of what's been prepared for them. It's infuriating, and more than that, it's lazy. What makes this even more absurd is the selective scrutiny. Why aren't they asking the SNP or ALBA where their economic plan is? Where is their strategy? Funny how that works, isn't it? The People's Assembly is expected to produce a ready-made plan, yet the very same demand is curiously absent for the established parties. The SNP's plan, missing. ALBA's strategy, non-existent. But when it comes to the People's Assemblies, suddenly everyone's demanding detailed blueprints for independence, economic frameworks, and social reforms, as if the movement is expected to carry the entire weight of responsibility alone. Here's the harsh truth: the People's Assembly does have a plan. And it's not just some top-down political document. It's rooted in real engagement based on social assemblies and community governments. It's a plan shaped by the will of the people, asking what they want, not telling them what they need. That's the fundamental difference. It's a plan driven by genuine democracy, not dictated by political elites from above. But of course, that requires effort. It requires going to the platform, learning the information, and engaging with the discussions that shape the future. And here's the kicker: those who demand a simple answer aren't even willing to put in the effort to find out what they really want for their society. They haven't made up their minds. They'd rather be spoon-fed a vision, which is exactly what you get with SNP or ALBA, an incomplete, unthought-out picture of what an independent Scotland could look like. The People's Assembly doesn't operate like that. It's built on the idea that people decide what they want for themselves. It listens. It doesn't dictate. But to participate in that, you actually have to be willing to engage, learn, and most importantly, think.
The crossroads of the Scottish independence movement. Two paths. One Triseth Scottish independence movement is at a critical juncture. Two distinct paths lie before us. One where we hand over the future of our nation to a leadership that rejects popular sovereignty and rewrites history, and another where we remain true to the founding principles of democracy, participation, and accountability. The choice is clear, but it's not the easy one. Let's take a step back. Many of us, myself included, threw our weight behind the ALBA party in its early days. We did so not out of blind loyalty, but because we believed in the promise of achieving a supermajority in the Scottish Parliament, a supermajority that would have allowed us to push for an independence convention. It wasn't just about party politics, it was about seizing an opportunity to shift the balance of power, to wrest control away from those who were more interested in self-preservation than in the cause of independence. But they rejected that vision. They rejected popular sovereignty, the very foundation of our movement. And instead of building on the research, the ideas, and the hard work that so many of us poured into creating something meaningful, they twisted it into something unrecognizable. Sarah, who had once been a trusted voice, took our research and turned it to rubbish, stripping it of its original intent and leaving behind a hollow shell. Let's be absolutely clear about what's at stake here. If you give them what they want, the so-called 3 estates, you will lose all the power that has been gained over the last 2 decades. All the progress made, the legal frameworks, and the hard-won victories like the Community Empowerment Act will be undone in a heartbeat. They don't want you to know that you already have the tools you need for direct democracy. Why? Because if the people realize the power they truly have, these so-called leaders would become irrelevant. The truth is, they don't want you empowered. That's why they present you with convoluted ideas about assemblies that strip you of your rights under the guise of representing the people. But the People's Assembly we envisioned wasn't just a theoretical exercise, it was grounded in practicality, drawing inspiration from some of the most successful models of participatory democracy around the world. We took the best from Norway, Switzerland, and Estonia and adapted it to the unique context of Scotland. We used the existing legal frameworks, like the Community Empowerment Act, to design an assembly that would give power back to the people. But they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that the tools for direct democracy are already within your grasp. They'd rather have you distracted by endless talk of the three estates, a concept that only serves to consolidate power in the hands of a few, while stripping it from the communities that have worked so hard to claim it. We stand at a crossroads, and the future of the independence movement hangs in the balance. On one path is a future dictated by a leadership that dismisses dissent, rejects popular sovereignty, and insists they know best. On the other is a movement that remains true to its founding principles, one that believes in democracy, participation, and accountability. The choice is ours. If we continue to blindly follow those who have already betrayed our trust, we will lose not only the fight for independence, but the very essence of what makes this movement worth fighting for. But if we stand up, reclaim the power that is rightfully ours, and stay true to the principles of popular sovereignty and grassroots democracy, then independence is not just possible, it is inevitable. Scotland's future is too important to be left in the hands of those who've proven themselves unworthy. The people must lead, not the politicians. The time has come to choose our path. The blooming of Alberfest, a seed of unity, and Hopier's Gabriel Seatown beautifully describes in his poem how the flowers grow. Life begins with the simplest of acts, planting a seed. It is a delicate process nurtured by time, warmth, and care. This is not just a gardener's task, but a metaphor for something much deeper, the birth of movements, ideas, and communities. My father, a gardener and a fierce patriot, understood that planting seeds is not merely physical. It is about laying the foundations for future growth, about creating something that will one day bloom for all to see. Alberfest, in its very essence, is an idea rooted in these principles. It grew from the humble beginnings of Scotscorner, where a community of like-minded individuals came together, seeking a path forward during the build-up to the Scottish referendum. These networks have only continued to expand, much like the stems and leaves of a plant reaching toward the sun. And as they grow, they are nourished by the unwavering belief in a brighter future for Scotland. But the story doesn't end there. Alberfest is more than just a festival, it's a community. The People's Assembly serves as the lock, a gateway through which the collective voice of the people is heard, deliberated, and amplified. And what is the key to unlock this? The People's Saltire, the combination that represents unity and action. It is the code that, when understood and applied, reveals the treasure inside. Alberfest, a symbol of hope, celebration, and the enduring spirit of Scotland. What is most inspiring about this journey is the strength that binds it all together. Just like the mysterious power of the number 369, representing the union of three strong hearts, Alberfest thrives on the power of community, resilience, and vision. The people's voices, hearts, and actions beat as one, united in their pursuit of freedom and self-determination. The strength of 369 reminds us that there is power in numbers, in persistence, and in the shared belief that, just like the flowers, we too will bloom in our time. So let us continue to plant those seeds of hope, of unity, of action. Let Alberfest be a testament to what can happen when a community comes together, rooted in purpose and driven by the desire to create something lasting. As we look to the future, may we see our efforts bloom into a brighter, freer Scotland. After all, we have watched, and we know this is how the flowers grow.
How the flowers grow. Be Gabriel Setunt. This is how the flowers grow. I have watched them, and I know. First, above the ground is seen a tiny blade of purest green, reaching up and peeping forth east and west, and south and north. Then it shoots up day by day, growing in a curious way round a blossom, which it keeps warm and cozy while it sleeps. Then the sunbeams find their way to the sleeping bud and say, "We are children of the sun, sent to wake thee, little one." And the leaflet, opening wide, shows the tiny bud inside, peeping with half-opened eye in the bright and sunny sky. Breezes from the west and south lay their kisses on its mouth, till the petals all are grown, and the buds a flower blown. This is how the flowers grow. I have watched them and I know.